Schar, Burn and Target. The three in midfield are with.
Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. It's the late kick-off on a Sunday afternoon. Tottenham Hotspur taking on Newcastle United. Tottenham did actually start the day in 5th, but since West Ham's win, they've now dropped to 6th position. Newcastle in 15th place. But from Eddie Howe's point of view, would have been very pleased to have seen a side find some form to get away from relegation trouble. And they're on the attack straight away here inside the first 15 seconds with Alan Saint-Maximin getting to the edge of the area. His cross is charged down. Then Shelby has an effort from the edge of the box, which is also charged down. Kulusevski is now back at the edge of his own penalty area just to try and calm things down for Spurs at the very start of this match. From Tottenham's point of view, they want to get 3 points to get away from West Ham and get closer to Arsenal, of course, who are currently 3 points ahead of Spurs and already have a game in hand even before Spurs have played the game this afternoon. Foul on Saint-Maximin there, though. This is a bright start for Newcastle. 45 seconds on the clock. They've got their first set piece. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Josh Hall taking you through the action. Josh, this is exactly the start that Newcastle wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to impose themselves on these sorts of games in this sort of run of form that they hit sort of over the last month or so has all been about imposing themselves on bigger opposition, showing those teams that they can mix it with the big boys. They want to be a big club. That's why the takeover happened, and you've got to be able to get results against the other big clubs. So, yeah, perfect start so far for Newcastle.
Certainly is, and they will be looking to try and get something from this set piece. It's Matt Target standing over it, a left-footed option. There is also a right-footed option of Fraser. He leaves it for Target. His cross is a bit short, though, easily headed away by Emerson Royal. Back over towards Matt Target. He now heads it towards the edge of the penalty area, cleared by Emerson Royal, but it drops straight to Saint-Maximin. So Spurs still can't quite clear their lines. It's with Joe Linton now, but that's great play. Kulusevski just gets in front of him, dispossesses him, and now he tries to get a move started for Spurs, having to go straight back, though, to Christian Romero. I'll just remind you of the two 11s very quickly. It is Hugo Lloris in goal for Spurs. The back three of Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Ben Davies. Four across the middle, Matt Doherty, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pierre Højbjerg and Emerson Royal, with Dejan Kulusevski, Heung-Min Son and Harry Kane as the attacking three. For Newcastle, it's Martin Dubravka in goal, with a back four of Javi Manquillo, Fabian Schar, Dan Burn and Matt Target. Three in midfield, Joe Willock, John Joe Shelby and Joe Linton, with Ryan Fraser, Alan Saint-Maximin and Chris Wood as the three up front. It's been an impressive takeover from Conte, I would say. Had a few problems early on, but the fitness levels have gone up. Spurs are now covering more distance than they were under Nuno Espirito Santo, where they're actually last in the league with that stat. And you can see straight away Conte has had an impact here. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a similar brand of football in that they are going to play counter-attacking football. They're going to be defensively solid. But the difference between a Nuno and a Conte is, with Nuno, you're going to sit behind the ball and wait for that opportunity. Under Conte, you're going to go out and force mistakes to pounce on those opportunities. And it's taken them a while to get those fitness levels up. It's taken them a while to get out of that patchy run of form. There was a period of time where it was basically win-loss, 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 win-loss. But they're starting to get a bit of a run of form together, and they're putting pressure on those above them in the table. I think Arsenal have definitely got one eye on them, and now on the same points as West Ham and Man United coming into this game. So. Certainly, they were a bit off colour in that defeat to Middlesbrough at the start of March. Then they hammered Everton 5-0. They were quite unlucky actually in losing at Old Trafford 3-2 before winning their last two games before the international break, away at Brighton and at home to West Ham. But haven't really been able to bed down so far in this game. We're coming up to 4 minutes gone. It is goalless. No real attack from Spurs as yet, although they have at least dispossessed Newcastle now. They're just holding on to the ball inside their own half, and it's Eric Dyer now switching play over towards the left. It's actually Doherty playing on the left this afternoon. Did wonder with both him and Emerson Royal preferring to play on the right, which one of them would have to move over to the left. But it is the Republic of Ireland international, and he's moved forward here, getting towards the edge of the area. Plays that ball away from Manquillo, but he also plays it away from Son. And then a quick clearance from Dan Burn straight back towards the halfway line. And it's back now with Ben Davies over towards Rodrigo Bentancur. Spurs, from their point of view, they won't want to give Newcastle too much time. Well, we saw that stat just before the start of the game, Josh, that Newcastle are a very different side with or without John Joe Shelby. Yeah, absolutely. Completely different side. But also I think that comes as part and parcel of the way they've improved under Eddie Howe, I think. Sorry. Well, right, absolutely, yeah. We just got a little bit of a moment there as Joe Linton rolled a very easy ball back to Martin Dubravka. He just sort of stopped with the ball and suddenly realised there was a Spurs player right in front of him at the edge of his 6-yard box, but he does clear his lines. Spurs are coming straight back, though, here with Kulusevski leaving the ball for Bentancur. Davies has got forward. He has Doherty on the overlap. That's where the ball has gone. Doherty now back towards Højbjerg. Square now towards Eric Dyer. Dyer's ball into the penalty area is headed away initially by Manquillo. Then good work there from Davies to win the ball back at the edge of the box. Here is Kulusevski now. Over towards Emerson Royal. Back into the box. Not a good ball from Emerson Royal. Easily cleared, but it drops back to Bentancur. His effort looks like it could have been going on target. Headed over the bar in the end by Schar. And Spurs are responding with a bit of an attack now at last.
Yeah, definitely. Finally warmed themselves into the game, but it's been an erratic start from both sides, really. You can tell this game means a lot to both of these teams and that they want to try and get something from this game. It's been not quite end to end, but both teams taking any advantage of space that they have, and a corner for Tottenham is an opportunity for them to try and go ahead early on in this game. They've got players in the box that can score headers, like Harry Kane and Eric Dyer.
Absolutely, plenty for Son to aim at here as he goes towards the back post. Dubravka for a second there looked as though he might have been losing the ball, but Martin Atkinson's not happy with something here. I'm not sure what this is. I don't think this is going to be a penalty. Is he asking for the corner kick to be retaken? Was he trying to speak to someone just as that ball was being whipped in? I mean, there's certainly a bit of pushing and shoving there between Manquillo and Davies, and then the ball just drops to Dubravka. So it looks like it's going to be the corner kick taken again. Not entirely sure what the referee spotted there. The TV pictures that we're getting, they weren't too sure either, but we're going to get a corner kick again here from Spurs. The last one was too close to Dubravka. We'll see if the delivery will be a bit better from Son this time. Goes low this time towards the near post there, aiming at Eric Dyer. Does get his head to it, but it's over the bar.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Eric Dyer was doing at the start. He was bent down behind two Spurs players, almost hiding from the Newcastle defenders, then makes a run to the near post, and it was going to take something special to be able to beat Dubravka from that angle with his head, and in the end gets a bit too much purchase on it, and it goes straight over the bar. But yeah, strange one, the retaken corner, but as you say, set pieces will be something that Spurs will be looking at in this game, to think that they've got players who can take advantage of set pieces. However, you're coming up against a side that's got a big Dan Burn in that centre-back partnership, who's a man who can get his head on many things.
Yeah, and it's been a good signing, I think, for Newcastle, Dan Burn. Just a solid Premier League the defender. As I say, I always used to call him the tallest left-back in the league when he was at Brighton, because he really was always playing on the left-hand side. He actually put in a couple of decent crosses and had a couple of decent runs, but certainly think he's much better suited in that centre-back role. And he's formed a pretty good partnership with Fabian Schar, pretty much has midfielder qualities in the way he plays out from the back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you have a defender who's just solid and knows how to be the platform for a defence, like Dan Burn, it allows someone like Fabian Schar to play more freely. And it's something we're seeing more and more in teams around the world. You look at England, they have a Harry Maguire, and then they'll play a John Stones or a Ben White next to him to allow to play out from the back. And that Schar and Dan Burn partnership has been so important to this revival of Newcastle and the way they've been playing in recent weeks.
Absolutely, and as I say, it wasn't the best start for Eddie Howe, but his side have picked up some valuable points. But before those two defeats against Chelsea, they were quite lucky in that game against Everton. Really did commentary of that, conceding in the 7th or 8th minute of injury time there, when it all looked like it was going to be going for a 0-0 draw. But those 3 wins away at Brentford, at home to Brighton, and away to Southampton really have given Newcastle some breathing space. They can't relax completely, but from their point of view, they'll feel as though if they get a couple more wins, it's going to take something quite unbelievable from those sides in the bottom 3, winning 5 or 6 of their last games to even have a chance of catching them.
Yeah, absolutely. They've had that patch of form. They've managed to move out of the dangerous positions, and I think having moved out of those, they now, in my eyes, in terms of the teams who are still, in that battle, they're the favourites to come away without being dragged into it. Really.
I would agree. I think they are. Yeah, Brighton and Palace probably just a couple of points further away. They won't be too worried, but certainly Newcastle, another win or 2 for them. I think they should be fine. But Leeds and Brentford in amongst them as well. They've had picked up some form recently, both of those sides. But here comes Spurs again now. Bentancur with the cross in from the right-hand side, headed away by Schar, kept in play here by Davies, going back towards the halfway line for Eric Dyer. Finds Bentancur, tries an early ball this time, looking for Emerson Royal. That's a good header away by Target, but Spurs keep it alive here with Son. Now it's Kulusevski again, a good challenge there from Target. But Kulusevski picks up the loose ball, plays it to Emerson, a quick 1-2 between them, and then the ball back with Bentancur at the edge of the area now, looking for options. In fact, Romero's got forward here as well in this attack. That's a very fluid tactical formation that Antonio Conte likes, where even if you're in a back 3, you're still expected to play like a winger almost. Yeah,
absolutely. Conte's one of those managers that requires every single one of his players to put in effort in every area of the pitch. It doesn't matter whether you're the striker and he wants you to drop back and play defensively when needed. It doesn't matter whether you're the fullback or the centre-back. He wants you to get forward. The likes of Ben Davies the likes of Ben Davies, who's playing on the left side of that back three. He'll push up and he'll be playing as far forward as he possibly can, and then they'll sort of push Bentancur back to maybe play more defensively.
Absolutely, and it's interchangeable in depending on the opposition. Of course, away to Man City, they probably wouldn't be pushing forward at that, but at home to Newcastle, where they expect to have more possession, they also expect to be able to take that risk and commit a few more players forward. About 10 minutes on the clock, and after a bright minute or two from Newcastle at the very start of this game, since then it really has been all Spurs. Newcastle are struggling to get any kind of possession. They're certainly struggling to get over the halfway line right now as Dyer sends a long ball over towards the left, taken down by Doherty, flicks it over the top here for Son. Son just waited, perhaps just a little bit too much bounce on that, and he couldn't quite get on it, but Doherty still able to recycle this, goes back towards Davies. And now it's with Eric Dyer just inside the centre circle, up to Kane. Good little turn there from Harry Kane. Needs some options though. Doherty's going in the box. Kane uses that as a decoy to get a shot away himself. He slips as he does so. And now Joe Linton hooks it away to Saint-Maximin. He runs straight into Christian Romero, and then Romero wins the ball back. So once again, Newcastle with no outlet really. Spurs winning the ball straight back. And now it's with Pierre Højbjerg up to Kulusevski. It's impressed me since he's come over from Italy. Kulusevski's had some excellent performances for Spurs. That game at the Etihad in particular, but now it's with Son down the left-hand side. Could have used Davies as an overlap. Goes back to Højbjerg. Options left and right for the Dane. Goes back towards Davies. Now it's with Højbjerg again. It opens up in front of him. He tries to get it to Kane, who tries to turn. Manquillo is there, and he slices the ball away from Harry Kane. But again, it doesn't drop to a Newcastle player. Spurs now back in possession here with Doherty down the left, back over towards Højbjerg, and then he plays it square towards Christian Romero. Now it's with Emerson Royale down the right-hand side. Oh, you can see a possession stat there, Josh. 80-20 to Spurs. I didn't actually think he'll be as dominant as that already, but Newcastle just can't get a hold of the ball.
Yeah, since Spurs have settled into the game, they've held on to it really well. But I think Newcastle are defending well. You know, they're right on the backs of Harry Kane. Every time he gets the ball, they're on him. They're making sure he can't find a pass or get a shot away, and it's stopping Spurs from being able to have any clear-cut opportunities. But with 80% of possession, you'd expect them to have an opportunity soon, and they've got the talent to put it in the back of the net if they do.
Well, it would seem it's a matter of time. If that kind of possession stat goes on for any length of time, then Newcastle just won't be able to withstand it. Spurs eventually will find a combination that works, but for the time being, Spurs are in possession. Newcastle are able to hold resolute. They've not really had Dubravka's not really had a save to make so far. It's mostly been his defenders that have had to do all the work, but it's back now on the halfway line with Dyer and Romero. Romero just looking up, can't quite get a ball forward, so he goes back towards Eric Dyer. Is it square to Romero? Woods trying to perhaps just get a little bit closer to Romero, but Newcastle, I'm not really sure what line they're trying to play there, because we saw that Byrne and Target was pushing forward. Schär was about 5 yards behind them, so there was no chance of playing anybody offside. But they have pushed up very high, Newcastle, so it's just made it a very narrow space for Spurs to work with here. That's saying that, though, a ball very nearly gets through to Son. It was Bentancur that tried to feed it to him, and now a ball deflects into the path of Wood. Wood then leaves it for Willock, and Willock plays a good ball out towards the left-hand side. Spurs were appealing a handball there against Chris Wood, but the move carries on here with Saint-Maximin getting to the edge of the area. He goes back to Joe Willock. Willock runs straight into Christian Romero, who confidently just strides in front of Willock and then takes the ball off him and brings the ball out himself. He just stops before the halfway line before he plays it back to Bentancur. But Spurs are up for this game, you can see that.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as they lose the ball, they're straight back on Newcastle, trying to make sure they win it back. They know how important these points in these games against the teams at the bottom half of the table are going to be in this run-in for European football, and you've got to be getting 3 points against a team that are trying to fight for their survival, and you have to play in this way to do it, because anyone can win a game in the Premier League.
Absolutely. Been proven time and again, although you do obviously, most games do go to form, but saying that, you do have to say that it is a very, very tight league. Every team has at least one or two players that can create something out of nothing, and if you're not 100%, then you can always be found out, as the Spurs try again here. Bentancur towards the ball touched on towards Kane with the strike. It goes just wide. It was Kulusevski that got the ball at the edge of the area, hit it first time towards Harry Kane. Seemed to set up nicely for Spurs' number 10, but he just couldn't quite get it on target.
Yeah, he's not quite got the best of views of the goal. He's got about 3 Newcastle players that managed to rush in front of him and try and put him off. In the end, he drags it wide left of the post, and he'll be disappointed with the contact he's made with that ball. He's so well known for how well he can strike a ball, Harry Kane, and just seeing now 11 goals and 4 assists his last 15 Premier League appearances.
Well, I mean, that's over a 15-game spell. To say that in 15 games you're either going to score or have an assist is an excellent return from Harry Kane. And the fact that him and Son work very well together, they have assists for each other. It's not just that Son is always assisting Kane, can go the other way as well. And that movement of Heung-Min Son is just almost like him and Kane understand each other. Just seeing before the start of the game in the warm-up, the two of them were sort of warming up together, just playing very quick balls first time to each other just to try and get match sharp. But Spurs coming in here now down the left-hand side with Matt Doherty. They're finding the space now, Spurs. Doherty cuts inside and then switches play over towards the right. It's going to be Emerson charging to try and keep this in play. He will manage it. Needs some support though as Target has tried to close him down. And eventually the ball going back towards Christian Romero. Kulusevski now about 25 yards out. He is fouled by Joelinton. Referee Martin Atkinson waited a second, almost gave himself a little mental replay there, but I don't think Joelinton got much of the ball.
Yeah, he went in strong, Joelinton. He's just trying to make sure that Kulusevski couldn't get a pass on. And actually, on second viewing, I think Joelinton probably does get enough of the ball for that not to be a free kick. But then Kulusevski puts his hand out to try and handball it, to say that's my free kick, and at that point the referee gives a free kick. Yes, I think
it's a good tactic. There was a time when that almost always worked. Now referees have actually started giving the handball as well occasionally, but I think on that occasion there probably was just enough contact to swing Martin Atkinson's mind that it could have been a foul. But this means it's a free kick to Spurs in a very good position, and Eric Dyer seems to be measuring out what he's going to do here. It's just slightly over on the right-hand side, so it might actually favour a left footer, but Dyer is looking like he might try and curl this around the wall and into the top corner. It may all be a deception as well, but it looks like he is going to be Dyer to strike it. It is Dyer to strike it, and it actually hits the stanchion post behind the goal. It wasn't too far away. Although Dubravka was scrabbling across, it didn't look like he was too concerned about it.
No, it looks like it's gone pretty far wide of the target in the end. It's got to be pretty far wide to be curling and still hit the stanchion post. It's gone pretty far to that right-hand side of Dubravka's goal, but we know Dyer can score free kicks. He scored a fantastic free kick for England a long time ago, and although maybe he's not been in the best attacking form of his life in recent times, he's really transformed the way he plays as a defender under Antonio Conte, and not the best of free kicks on that occasion, but I'm sure it's not the last we'll see of Eric Dyer today.
No, as I say, Newcastle were struggling really to get out of their own half, but now they've got to move together here as Willock and Fraser exchange passes. The final ball down the left towards Saint-Maximin, though, was just a little bit overhit, and in the end it's laid off to Lloris, who then clears it out for a throw. But Newcastle, they need to look at it in a positive light, that they've withstood a good almost 15-minute spell from Spurs, where it's almost been exclusively in Spurs' possession.
Yeah, they've sat back, they've soaked it up, and now that they have the ball, it's time to try and bring yourselves back into the game. Sometimes you can be quite erratic when you finally win the ball back after a spell of not having possession for a long time, and what ends up happening is you make quick decisions, you don't manage to make the most of that possession. So, and it seems to be what they're doing now, Newcastle, is keep hold of it, you've got it, impose yourselves back on Tottenham, give them something to think about.
Absolutely. That's a good long ball, though, to Chris Wood, and he heads it down, and it's taken on by Ryan Fraser. He then lays it off to Saint-Maximin. This is at the edge of the area now. Saint-Maximin to Joelinton. Looks up, thought about a cross, puts the cross, and it's far too low. Headed away by Christian Romero. It drops to Saint-Maximin, who wanted just too many touches at the edge of the area. He then gets knocked off the ball. He's claiming to have a head injury. Referee hasn't stopped playing. Newcastle is still in possession here as Willock gets the ball at the edge of the area. It's then cleared by Dyer up towards the halfway line. Referee Martin Atkinson still not concerned, so he obviously feels as though whatever this head injury is for Saint-Maximin, he's not buying it.
Yeah, Romero goes into him strong. I don't think it's a foul, maybe. I think it's just a big hit from Romero. It's actually Bentancur, goes in, wins the ball, and I think just his shoulder sort of comes in contact with Saint-Maximin's head as he's going through it. To be honest, it's not a foul. I think it's an accident. However, the referee's got to be stopping the game there in terms of concussion protocols and making sure players are looked after. The game has to be stopped there.
It does, yeah. I think that he was Martin Atkinson either didn't see that sort of the head the collision there between the shoulder and the head, but now Saint-Maximin is being checked over, and as I say, for the sake of a free kick he knows he's not going to get. I don't think he'd be doing all this just for the sake of it. He obviously is in some pain there. Perhaps just looking a little bit groggy, as we could see. Eddie Howe, manager of the month back in February. That's when Newcastle really kicked on and started picking up some very important results, including that win against Everton, the win against Villa, draw away at West Ham, and then those 3 wins, as I mentioned, to end February and then start March. That's put them in this very strong position. So they're just having a quick word there, Eddie Howe and his assistant, with Javi Manquillo, who gets to start on the right-hand side. As we've got a moment break, he'll just run you through the 2 subs benches. It's Sanchez, Lucas Moura, Scarlett, Winks, Bowden, Rodden, Bergwijn, White, and the goalkeeper Galini on the bench for Spurs this afternoon. For Newcastle, it's Gale, Longstaff, Dummett, Ritchie, Bruno Guimaraes, Kraft, Murphy, Lascelles, and goalkeeper Darlow. Interesting to see that Bruno Guimaraes isn't starting. He's had a couple of good performances. I thought that today he might have got the nod, but having said that, Joe Linton sort of suddenly come into his own as a central midfielder now. Yeah, and I think it takes a manager who's confident in his decisions to make a decision like that. I think you could quite easily have said, look, we've spent this money on this player, he's a level above the rest of our players, he's got to play. But when you have someone like Shelvey and Jolinton who are really in that sort of box-to-box or more defensive midfield role, have been playing as well as they have, I don't see why you should change them out. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. No, it's true. I think that there was a theme that started, I think, in the 90s with Claudio Ranieri getting that nickname, the Tinker Man, where he would just change Chelsea teams even when they were winning, just because he felt like he wanted different players for different matches. And that theme, I think, has just sort of there are still some managers that like to do that. But I'm with you. I think if a team has played well 2 or 3 games in a row, you shouldn't really change too much for that 4th game against, just because it's a slightly different or maybe a slightly more difficult opponent. I think it's better to probably keep that winning formula as much as possible. Same debate I think that some managers have in terms of cup matches, whether you want to give other players a run out or just keep a winning team playing. But here come Newcastle now with Saint-Maximin. A strong challenge from Romero. Again, no foul, but the loose ball drops to Fraser down the right hand side, and he finds Fabian Manquillo at the edge of the area. Back to Fraser. Low cross swept away by Dyer, then a strike from Shelvey at the edge of the area, deflects into the path of Willock. Willock hits it, and just at the vital moment there, a big challenge once again from Christian Romero. Looked like Willock's effort might have been going towards goal. Yeah, absolutely. He does so well to weave in and out of the Tottenham defence. He sort of picks up the ball in a position I don't think he was expecting to after the shot comes out. He does well to knock it past Davies with his right foot, then turns on the inside of Eric Dyer, makes Dyer look a bit of a fool, then gets his shot away, but Romero just comes sliding across in time to block it away. And I think it probably would have been a goal if it wasn't for Romero's tackle. Yeah, Romero making his 12 successive start. I'm not surprised seeing the way he's started today. He looks in very good form. There was a strike after that challenge from the Spurs defender. There was a Newcastle player trying to keep it in play. It actually went out after it was a throw to Spurs. Newcastle doing what they can to try and win it back here in Spurs territory, but it's hooked up in the air back towards the halfway line. Dan Burn, as is often the case with him, wins the header there, and the loose ball though drops to Harry Kane. He then goes back towards Doherty, who quickly switches play over towards the right hand side. Here comes Emerson Royal. Saint-Maximin runs into him, and I think that will be given as a free kick, which is ironic because of course the amount of contact with Saint-Maximin and Emerson there was minor compared to what happened to Saint-Maximin. It's just one of those funny situations where the contact was just in the wrong place, I suppose. Yeah, I think it's one of those ones as well where the referees looked at that as a decision that he's decided to make in terms of how promising Tottenham's attack looks. So it was like, you've decided to foul this player because Tottenham were moving forward at pace. And I think it shouldn't affect the fact that that's a foul, but I think that's what the decision that's been made by the referee is. I think so, and in the meantime Spurs have moved the ball over towards the left-hand side. Son now looks up at the edge of the area, finds Emerson over on the right. He's got options here. Kulusevski down that right-hand channel, but he tries to sell Dan Burn a dummy. Dan Burn is not having it, and he then brings the ball away before going back towards target, and now a long clearance from Dubravka. We're over the halfway point in this first half. It's Spurs 0, Newcastle 0, and it will be Josh to take us through to half-time. Yeah, and an entertaining first half of the first half so far. Both teams really having a go at it. I think Tottenham probably been slightly better of the two so far, but since they lost that long spell of possession, Newcastle have definitely warmed back into the game and threatened Tottenham, coming close with that Joe Willock effort that was just cut out in the nick of time by Romero. But it's Tottenham that come forward now with a lovely ball tried to be played through by Kulusevski towards Son, but he couldn't quite find him. In the end it was cut out. Matt Targett doing some lovely footwork to try and work out from the back, and in the end deemed to have been fouled by Emerson Royal just outside Newcastle's own penalty box. So Newcastle have a free kick, and well, a lot of the Tottenham players not happy with that decision. I don't think they thought there was enough contact in it, but it's another one of those soft ones where the contacts come short and come
gently.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I think with the target was probably on his way to losing his balance anyway, and it's almost like Emerson's just helped him along, and that's probably what swung it in the referee's mind that it should be a free kick. But again, that was a soft one.
Yeah, a few soft decisions so far, as well as one not so soft one after the big shoulder. It's Martin Atkinson who's in charge of the game today. He's obviously an experienced referee and someone who, well, is prone to make his decisions and not want to have any influence by the players, but sometimes so hard to do in these games when it's erratic and you're getting complaints from the opposition.
Well, the problem is that players have been doing this since day dot. They get in the referee's face, they try and influence him, and it always, as I say, they shouldn't have an effect, but they're only human, and it is going to have an effect when, particularly if the crowd are behind you, if the manager's getting in your ear, if the fourth official's passing on what the managers are saying as well, and the referees do hear about all of that. So it is quite a difficult. It's a very difficult role. Martin Atkinson is, as you say, one of the more experienced referees. With VAR now, of course, there should be a lot less wiggle room in terms of errors, but we've seen some pretty bad decisions since the video assistant has been introduced. Let's just hope that with every season they start to iron those mistakes out.
Yeah, VAR in place today. It's Paul Tierney who's in charge of the video assistant referee. Well, he is the video assistant referee today, so whether we'll have any big decisions that have to go that way, we'll find out. But it's Alassane Maximin on the far left-hand side. He skips past Harry Kane. Kane puts a foot out and brings down to Maximin. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a yellow card, and it is a yellow card. The first yellow card of the game goes Harry Kane's way because Maximin was in a very dangerous position there on the far left-hand side, cutting in on his right foot. We know he likes to do that. He's got options on that to try and dribble past another man or to try and find an effort. And in the end, there had to be a yellow card and a free kick.
It does, and I'm a little bit surprised that Kane still tries. I mean, I suppose it's just a knee-jerk reaction. Every footballer's always going to try and appeal every decision, aren't they? But it does surprise me that he was quite sort of convinced as he was speaking to Martin Atkinson there that, well, what's that for? It was almost like to say that it was either a soft yellow card or it's his first foul, but he's deliberately tripped a man, not tried to win the ball as Saint-Maximin's off down the wing. So, to say, a centre-forward's tackle there from Harry Kane, and a good chance now for Newcastle.
Yeah, free kick around about 30 yards out on the far left-hand side. It's going to be whipped in by Matt Targett. No one there, though, and it goes all the way through, and in the end, it's had to be knocked out of play by Doherty for a corner for Newcastle because Joelinton was hovering towards that back post, looking to try and come onto it, but Doherty does enough to just put it out of play, and it will be a corner. So another opportunity for big Dan Burn and co to try and get on the end of this. Schar's good with his head. Joelinton great in the air as well, but you definitely expect Dan Burn to be the target.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been quite a while now since Spurs have had any kind of attacking play. A good few minutes now where Newcastle have been putting pressure on. Newcastle fourth in the league in terms of getting goals from set pieces, and they'll be looking to try and add to that now.
Yeah, Romero, the one tasked with marking the big centre-back as it comes towards him at the back post. He has to duck down almost to knee height to get his head on it. It's fallen all the way down, and in the end, Maximin gets it on the far left, but then a free kick deemed to have been given, supposedly a foul from Dan Burn.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, he wanted to get more power into this header, had to duck down to get near it, and then, yeah, I mean, it's silly from Dan Burn. Referees are allowing more shoulder to shoulder, they are allowing more physical contact, but you have to be at least within a yard or two of the ball there. He was basically stopping Bentancur going anywhere near the ball when he was still a couple of yards away from it, so it was an easy decision, really, but Spurs looking to take a short free kick. Newcastle still trying to press.
Ryan Fraser with an aggressive press on Tottenham at the moment, and Chris Wood joining him, and it's forced Hugo Lloris to go long up towards Harry Kane, and Dan Burn once again wins a header, but he only heads it just in front of himself, and Kane wins it. It's then played out left now to Doherty. Doherty cuts in on his favoured right foot, as we say, normally plays right back as he did for Wolves and normally for Tottenham. Oh, lovely pull through from Bentancur. It goes to Son on the edge of the box, who shoots, and it's not quite his best effort. It's low, it's driven, but an easy save for Martin Dubravka in the end.
Doesn't really get his laces through it, does he, Heung-Min Son? And Harry Kane straight away just points to his feet as he sees Son take the shot, because Kane could have easily been he's completely unmarked, pretty much on the penalty spot there, and that would have been a better option, I think, there for Son.
Yeah, those two, obviously the most... He's got the most goals and assists between them in Premier League history than any other partnership, and looking to add to that tally today. It's Joelinton that has the ball at the moment, though, for Newcastle, as they'll just try and create something for themselves. A bit of pressure from Emerson Royale forces them to go back to Dan Burn. He's got plenty of time and space and just lays the ball off to John Joe Shelby, who plays one of his classic quarterback-like passes out wide to Manquillo on the right-hand side. He's under pressure from Doherty, so has to come inside, and once again it goes straight back to the Newcastle centre-back. Schar plays it down the right-hand side to Fraser, who's got plenty of space to run into. He whips it in on his right foot, doesn't often use his right. It comes headed away towards Saint-Maximin, but Kulusevski was there to knock it down, and then in the end, there'll be a chance for Bentancur to try and play a ball through to Emerson Royal. Royal has it. He plays it wide to Kulusevski. He's one-on-one with Targett on that far side. Plays it in on his right foot, and Dan Burn is there to comfortably knock the ball away, but it's only as far as Bentancur. He's got options to his left in Højbjerg, who he finds. The ball spread far wide now to Doherty. Ben Davies coming out to help out, but in the end, Newcastle's balanced formation is allowing is stopping Tottenham from being able to break through on that counter-attack, and they've all got behind the ball and it's slow play down.
It has. There's just really nowhere for Spurs to go. I mean, Spurs do have runners. They love to go down the channels. As I say, we've noticed the fact that even their centre-backs, Davies and Romero, have allowed themselves to go forward. It's only the Dyer left on the halfway, like a sort of old-fashioned sweeper almost, and yet despite that, they're not finding any way into the box. Now that is a combination of, I think, Newcastle being well organised, but also Spurs perhaps just lacking a little bit of creativity right now as well.
Sometimes when Spurs have got the ball so far today, it's sort of been a lacklustre passing, trying to find the perfect pass rather than going at Newcastle, running at their players. It's something you could do, as Joe Winner just nips the ball off Højbjerg and plays it wide right to Fraser. Cuts in on his left and decides to pass back to Manquillo. There was an opportunity there for Newcastle to run into some space, but decided to just keep hold of the ball as Tottenham managed to get a few men back, and it's Dan Burn that has it just inside the Tottenham half now. It's now gone wide to Saint-Maximin. Played back once again to Dan Burn. He gives it to John Joe Shelvey. Harry Kane tried to put a little bit of pressure under Shelvey. Fraser once again has to come back for it, and Newcastle just looking after the ball a bit rather than going straight at Tottenham as they were earlier on in this game. It's 31 minutes played. It's still 0-0 Tottenham versus Newcastle, and John Joe Shelvey has the ball, looking for an option long, and he decides to play it long over towards the far right-hand side, and nobody's making a run. Doherty just watches the ball out, and it goes straight out for a goal kick. As we just see pictures of John Joe Shelvey telling someone to shush. I imagine it was probably a Tottenham player that was giving him a bit of stick for that long pass.
It could have been, or it could have been a teammate who's asking for a pass down the left, and he was only going down the right. But Shelvey, he's never shy to share his opinion. And as I say, he's been an important player for Newcastle, which is interesting because at one stage I thought last season he was just starting to perhaps lose a little bit of that midfield influence, but he's certainly come back with a bang this season. Long clearance from Lloris, but that's straight to Fabian Schar. Now Newcastle will certainly be looking to try and get a little bit more possession now, with Spurs have just been starting to dominate again.
Yeah, Spurs definitely warmed back into the game, but Fabian Schar making a run up this right-hand side, gives it to Shelvey. Shelvey trying to pop it off to Manquillo, and in the end a foot put in the back of him from Ben Davies, and it will be a free kick by the looks of things as Fraser goes down holding his calf, and Davies just sort of came in behind him, tried to win the ball first and took more man than the ball.
He did, yeah. Well, they could still meet, of course, these two in a playoff in the summer if Scotland can first get past Ukraine. Then the winner of that match will play Wales, and of course the winner of that match then goes to the World Cup. So it's still pretty big for those two players. Certainly they'll be looking to try and be involved in those squads at the end of this season. And of course we're only something like 7 months away from the World Cup now, aren't we? It's all getting very close.
Not long at all, and if either of those two players' nations do make it, they will be joining England's group. Obviously, England captain Harry Kane is playing for Tottenham today. A long ball played in from the free kick, searching for Dan Burn. He couldn't get his head on it. It's cleared away, but only as far as Saint-Maximin on the left-hand side. He's weaving and trying to break away from a couple of Tottenham players, and just about manages to find a pass on the right-hand side to Manquillo. He offloads the ball to Fraser, who just trying to wait for some sort of option, but no one really forthcoming, so he has to give it back to Manquillo, who then in the end just goes straight back to John Joe Shelvey, who when they're attacking Newcastle, John Joe Shelvey seems to be the furthest back player, despite the one playing in midfield. He's not the centre-back. He's happy to sort of sit back and play those long balls over the top. He's probably their best ball player.
He is. I mean, he slips there as just a comment. I mean, that is literally commentator's curse in the same second there. Just as you finished saying that, he slipped and played a ball that went to no one in particular. But he is that sort of quarterback style central midfielder, particularly when you look at the two players either side of him, Willock and Joelinton. They're not really suited to sitting back. They're both more players that like to range from him. Joelinton is pretty much a forward that's been converted into a midfielder, and Willock's more of an attacking midfielder in my eyes anyway. So he pretty much needs Shelvey to stay back, otherwise Newcastle would leave themselves open. But here comes Spurs now with Emerson Royal.
Yeah, Emerson Royal on the right-hand side. He got Kulusevski to his right. He then gives it to Kulusevski, cuts it on his left, and a lovely dinked ball towards the middle, and Højbjerg gets his head on it, and it goes just over the bar. He's claiming that it might have been a corner, but the referee and the linesman both agree that it's a goal kick. But a lovely ball in from Kulusevski, who, as you say, has been fantastic for Tottenham since signing in January, and tell you what, that could have been 1-0.
Yeah, it's a good ball in. It's hanging, and it's justified. I don't think there is any touch of Manquillo there. It's just one of those where Manquillo gets in the way of Højbjerg. Although potentially seeing in that second replay, it might be one of those where Højbjerg heads it into the back of Manquillo before it then goes over the bar. Antonio Conte, and animated as always on the touchline. It's interesting, that little mind game he played after Spurs lost away to Burnley. He said, maybe I'm not right for this job. I'm only sleeping 4 hours a day, thinking about Spurs 20 hours a day. Maybe it's still not enough. And since then, Spurs' form has really turned around. So just goes to show that he knows how to get the best out of it. I don't think he was ever thinking of resigning. It was just to try and get a reaction out of his team. But here come Newcastle now.
Yeah, he's definitely an emotional coach, Antonio Conte, and it is Joe Willock who has the ball now. He manages to shake off Heung-Min Son and then plays the ball back to Matt Targett. Targett gives it to Maximan, who plays the ball through looking for Chris Wood, and in the end it's cleared away by Eric Dyer, who, as we mentioned, is a rejuvenated Eric Dyer, who's been fantastic under Antonio Conte as part of that back five or back three, whichever way you want to spin it. It's always different depending on who they're playing, as you spoke about earlier on. And Antonio Conte is you often find a manager that likes to stick to one specific way to play, or a manager who's very pragmatic and will change. Antonio Conte is almost the perfect mix of both.
Yes, he is. I think there is that element. I mean, I first, I've been aware of Antonio Conte for years, but the first time I really sort of noticed him in terms of management was when he had that Italian team in the Euros in 2016, playing almost a completely different way to what you'd expect from an Italian team in terms of pressing, in terms of attacking, not just doing that old sort of fashioned slow midfield that Italy were famous for previously. But we'll just break off from that because Newcastle are enjoying a bit more attacking possession again.
Yeah, they are. Just playing a lovely ball in from Manquillo, which was only just managed to be headed away by Tottenham, and it's still Newcastle heavy on the possession, pinning Tottenham in their own half, and a ball tried to play over the top towards Joelinton, and it goes all the way out for a goal kick. But enjoying a good spell of possession again there, Newcastle. And I think at the start of this game it looked as if Tottenham were the better of the two sides for that opening 10-15 minutes, and then between then and now it's been exchanging. They've both been on top for different periods, and Newcastle, they don't look uncomfortable in a game against great opposition. In fact, as I say that, they've just won the ball back from a goal kick that they've managed to get to Alan St-Maximin. He's under the attention of Emerson Royal, manages to shake him off, and Romero comes over to help out. St-Maximin comes back up after getting knocked down and ends up finally giving the ball to Joelinton, who gives it to Willock. He's brought down just outside the box by Heung-Min Son, and a free kick's given. And I tell you what, this is a dangerous position for a free kick.
It is, and it all comes from Spurs just insisting to always play out from the back. I mean, I understand that all teams prefer it these days, but it can't be the only way that you come out of a goal kick, because it does put pressure on your defenders and midfielders straight away. And Kane giving away a silly free kick and a yellow card earlier, and now his strike partner Son doing exactly the same. If you're going to be a forward coming back to defence, you've got to be a little bit more resolute than that. That was a bit clumsy from Son, really.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely John Joe Shelby territory.
Yeah, clumsy is certainly the word for that foul, and it's a free kick just on the edge of the area, about a yard or two outside of the 18-yard box. Like you say, John Joe Shelby territory. However, I'm sure all Newcastle fans will be wishing Kieran Trippier wasn't injured for this free kick.
Yes.
Kieran Trippier distance.
Kieran Trippier, absolutely. Shelby probably would prefer this. If he had a choice, he probably would take 3 or 4 yards, take the ball 3 or 4 yards back just to get a little bit more distance between him and the goal. There is a man down on the ground as well. Doherty trying to stop the low strike, as the referee is just trying to get this one. I mean, the line is clearly there, and all the Spurs players are over it right now, so they're trying to steal half a yard already. But we'll wait to see who takes this free kick.
Yeah, Doherty acting as the draft excluder for Tottenham for this free kick. It's become a popular theme in modern football, as they're just sort of waiting for this free kick to be taken. A bit of a conversation going on between the players. Looks like it could be Matt Targett who's going to step up to take it. And in the end, it comes in. It's put in! Oh, what a goal! It's Fabian Schar that took the free kick in the end. He keeps it low. He doesn't go high, and it goes right into the bottom right-hand corner. And it's 1-0 to Newcastle.
It is 1-0 to Newcastle. Well, we didn't say Schär can hit a free kick. We were all thinking about it's a shame Trippier's not there. Targett could surprise us with his left foot. Shelby, the captain's going to do something. And no, it's Fabian Schär the ball-playing centre-back that gets the goal for Newcastle, runs straight down that far touchline to get his applause from the travelling Newcastle fans. It's a really good free kick. The question might be as to whether Lloris has his wall positioned properly, because the goalkeeper actually gets hands to this as well, and he can't really do anything to stop it. It's just, looking at this again, it looks as though Wood and Dan Burn have done their job as well, just moving to, as they were covering that ball before the free kick was taken, then Lloris is just a little bit unsighted.
Yeah, Dan Burn and Chris Wood both stand just to the side of the Newcastle wall, and then as soon as he's about to hit it, Fabian Schar, they just break off, and the gap that they were stood in is exactly where he hits it, and that's how it goes in the back of the net. They were both stood offside in that position. I don't think there's going to be any sort of check on it, because I wouldn't quite say they properly influenced that goal.
I think, as I say, it just depends on the moment when the ball was struck. I mean, it doesn't look as though there's been any kind of delay because of the... although, saying that, there looks like there might be a bit of a review now, but they're waiting an awful long time to restart play here. So, yeah, they are going to check to see. First of all, does it strike Chris Wood? It doesn't strike Chris Wood, but he is having to sort of move his body out of the way. And as the free kick is taken, then Dan Burn potentially is offside. Wood might be level, though, so now we're just waiting to see. Fabian Schar looks as confused as we are right now.
It's saying there that's a possible handball. I think it just comes off the elbow of Chris Wood, but very gently, and in the end...
It's confirmed, yeah. It took a little bit longer there. If we've got the video replay, we might as well make sure that it all adds up, but the goal has been given, and it's a big goal for Newcastle.
Yeah, massive goal for Newcastle. They really imposed themselves on Tottenham at times in this first half so far, so around about 41 minutes played in this game so far, and it's 1-0 to Newcastle. A great free kick from Fabian Schar. We were saying Kieran Trippier, we were saying Matt Targett, we were saying John Joe Shelby, and in the end it's Fabian Schar that puts it in the back of the net. And we just see now Newcastle have conceded the third least amount of goals in the Premier League in 2022, only 7 goals, so bodes well for them that they're going to try and not...
Absolutely, but the other 3 teams on that list are all in the top 4, so it just goes to show Newcastle really have tightened things up at the back, of Fabian Schar doing the job, but in front of his own goal, as well as getting goals for his team as well. So it's been excellent from Newcastle in the last few weeks, and this has been a superb first half for them, as Spurs now trying to kickstart something with Heung-Min Son.
Yeah, and it's Son that's charging at the Newcastle defence, and he's done so well to get into a position, but he can't quite get a shot away, and in the end, Manquillo comes across to just bumble it out for a corner, but he's so dangerous. When he gets in those pockets of space, Heung-Min Son, and he runs at the defenders, there's nothing you can do to stop him.
No, there isn't. As I say, he gets away from Shelby, he's never going to catch him. Schar doing his best. Manquillo eventually comes back just to try and slow him down, and he's able to do that, ball out for a corner.
Yeah, it's a corner on this near side, and it will be Son who takes it. It's come in, and there's a header there from Romero, but he's not quite managed to get enough on it. It falls down for Eric Dyer. Then Son plays the ball back in, and it's 1-1. Heung-Min Son delivers the ball into the box, and it's Ben Davies that gets his head on it and directs it into the far right-hand corner. And it's 1-1, and a great header from Ben Davies.
Great header from Ben Davies. Great response from Spurs. They've been a little bit flat, had a lot of the ball, but just not had that end product. But that's a free kick and goal from Newcastle has woken up the home side here. Corner kick is whipped in. There'll be a little bit of a discussion as to whether Newcastle could have done a little bit more to clear the first, but when it goes back to Son, he picks out a great cross. Nobody really marking Davies, and he does really well to just get his head to the ball and change the direction enough to get it away from Dubravka.
Yeah, and it's exactly the response Antonio Conte would have wanted from his side. When you go 1-0 down, the best thing you can do is get straight back up there, take away any sort of momentum that Newcastle might have had. And I tell you what, the more you watch it, the better of a header that is from Ben Davies. He's done fantastically well to direct that in, because the cross is coming in with some pace and some fizz on it by Heung-Min Son, and it's just a great goal, and they've done so well to get straight back into this game, and Newcastle will be disheartened at that. So 43 minutes played, and they've given the ball away there, and Tottenham are not happy with
they
this.
Are not. Brian Fraser is the one who's brought down, and a trio of Spurs players. And in fact, if Antonio, if it wasn't for the fourth official, Graham Scott, then potentially I think Antonio Conte would be charging onto the pitch himself there.
Yeah, Ryan Fraser, he gets hold of the ball and he's dispossessed. We have not quite seen a replay of it yet to see whether or not it's a foul, but there's about 4 Tottenham shirts that are then running towards goal, they probably would have been straight through and had a clear opportunity, and the referee blows his whistle, and they're all incensed by that decision.
They are. We've not seen a replay of it yet. Ball is still in place since then, but hopefully we'll get a chance to see. We've just got a minute now before we hit injury time in this first half.
Yeah, not too long left at all in this first half. Eric Dyer with the ball at the back for Tottenham now. It's been a enthralling first 45 minutes so far, and the long ball comes here from Sergio Romero trying to find Heung-Min Son, but he doesn't quite manage it, and Ryan Fraser gives the ball back to Manquillo, and they're being put under a lot of pressure now, Newcastle, from Tottenham. There's a high press as Kane goes to try and block a clearance from Dubravka, but the goalkeeper just about manages to get it out, but Newcastle can't keep hold of the ball for longer than sort of 2 or 3 passes as Spurs win it back, and then they have it now with Heung-Min Son. He gives it to Bentancur. He's got options to his left and right. He uses Son, who was the option on his right. He gets it back off him, trying to play a long ball over the top towards Emerson Royal, but he's not quite got the right flight on it. It's a bit too shallow, and it's gone straight out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's out for a goal kick. Now we're going to see this loss of possession from Fraser. Is he fouled by... Oh, I don't know. Doherty is just trying to get his foot in there to win the ball. This is a close-up now. Is this a foul? Oh, it's a close one. I think he probably just about the right decision there.
I think it's a foul. I think Fraser probably gets his foot on it, and then it seems like Doherty almost hooks his leg around Fraser's to trip him. And I think either way, it's a bit of a difficult one. Antonio Conte arguing once again with the fourth official there as we get 2 minutes of added time. He doesn't seem happy with that. I think he was pointing around trying to say that there should have been more time.
Well, I suppose, the VAR check after the Newcastle goal probably took a minute on its own. Sam Maximan was probably down for more than a minute, and if you add up all the other set pieces and things, then you could have easily found 4 or 5 minutes. But that's the case. We know that as football fans, we always get a little bit ripped off because we're the only sport that has a continuous clock, and we probably lose more than 10 minutes in a half anyway. I think there was a study once that they worked that out. So it's just one of those things. Conte's frustrated because he can see that his side are on top now, and Newcastle probably love the first half to end right now if they could.
Yeah, absolutely. Newcastle definitely under the cosh a little bit with about 1 minute remaining of the 2 that have been added on, and Emerson Royal gives the ball away with a sloppy pass. He was searching for Heung-Min Son but couldn't find him. John Joe Shelby manages to clear it away, and then Alan Saint-Maximin and Bentancur have a little bit of something here. And they're all pushing and shoving, and I tell you what, they look like a headbutt on Alan Saint-Maximin.
Possibly, yes. This. The referee needs to diffuse this. I think Paul Tierney might be having to earn his money now just before half-time at Stockley Park in the VAR studio as well, because there is a little bit of afters that needs to be taken care of here. It seemed like Saint-Maximin and Bentancur were unhappy with each other over something, and then a whole melee of players getting involved as well. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what the referee is making of this. Is it just a case of a yellow card each to defuse it, or potentially something more?
At first look, it looked like it was one of those situations where both Saint-Maximin and Bentancur put their heads together to say, come on, one of you, move it towards me, and we'll see who gets sent off. And from first glance, from what I could see, it looked like Bentancur took that and decided to go at it and move his head towards Saint-Maximin. And look, it's not a headbutt as we know outside of football, but inside football, that's how it goes. And at the moment, it looks like it will probably just be a yellow card apiece.
Yeah, well, I'm saying now, I remember Richarlison getting a 3-game ban for an attempt at a headbutt, for saying that he wanted, for sort of gesturing that he was going to do without actually doing it. But Saint-Maximin, he's in the book, and that's his 5th yellow card of the season. And potentially... Is this going to be... Oh, the referee went back into his pocket. That was just to get his pen out, though. I was thinking he might be getting a different colour card for Bentancur, which wouldn't have really made sense, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Unless we can see a replay of it and see that he has properly gone in for a headbutt, then I would see the card being a different colour. But we can't see that at the moment. So I think 2 yellow cards make sense. Both players being silly, shouldn't have gotten involved with each other like that, especially with so little time remaining in this first half.
Yeah, Joe Linton there coming over to the referee. He's having a bit of an argument. I don't think he's got any option there because he came over and shoved Bentancur. It may well be that Bentancur's done a little bit more just to show that he was being pushed there, but that's the 7th yellow card for Joe Linton. And as I say, just a bit of a hand up there from Saint-Maximin. Bentancur didn't like that. Then the 2 of them, as you say, sort of 4 heads together without actually doing a headbutt. And then, in fairness, I would say that probably Joe Linton's the biggest antagonist out of everyone in that.
Yeah, he just comes steamrolling in and just pushes him to the floor. And I think this half needs to be finished now because players are surrounding the referee. The referee seems to have lost control of this first half. He needs to blow his whistle, end this half, go in, calm things down, come back out in the second half, and we'll have a measured second half?
Yeah, I think so. I think both managers will just try and diffuse the situation a little bit as well. As Højbjerg is brought down, we're coming up to the 4th minute of injury time, so there surely can't be too much time left.
Yeah, I can see the referee now just checking his watch as Eric Dyer has the ball just inside Tottenham's own half. He's got Ben Davies to his left, and the whistle has been blown, and it is 1-1.